Welcome back. Myself Naresh Malreddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Automobile Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. In the last lecture, I have discussed about the difference between rigid and deformable bodies, importance of mechanical properties, and relationship between stress and strain through stress strain curve. So, in my today's lecture, I am going to talk about tension, compressive, and shear stresses, and also the elastic constants. What is a stress? Stress is a resistive force which is offered by a body when it is loaded. So here we have different types of loading like tensile, compressive and shear. So first of all we will discuss about tensile loading. So tensile load is acting on a body along the axial direction, makes the body to deform in longitudinal direction, and here the deformation is considered to be as expansion. So due to this tensile loading, the stresses induced are tensile stress and tensile strain. Whereas for compressive loading, the load is acting along the axial direction like the tensile load, but here the material will be contracted and the deformation is also in along the longitudinal direction. So due to this compressive loading, the compressive stress and compressive strain are induced in the body. So here, since the bodies are been expanding and contracting in axial direction, these stresses are called as normal stresses or axial stresses. Whereas another type of stresses is also been there, and it is due to the shear loading, and these due to the shear load which is acting along the plane of the body, that is along the surface of the body, and makes the body to fail along the shear in shear direction. So these are tangential direction. We will call this as tangent. The stresses which are induced are called as tangential stresses, and also another name is shear stress and shear strain. So for example for this shear loading is nothing but slicing of a bread. See about axial stress or tensile stress or compressive stress. So it is, as I said, stress is nothing but resistive force acting on a area. So here which is this stress, axial stress or tensile stress or compressive stress, will be denoted by a symbol called sigma, where here the P is nothing but the load, which can be a compressive load or tensile load, and here the cross sectional area is being considered based upon the area which you are going to take. For example, if we see here two solids are being showing here in this image, where one is a rectangular prism, another one is a cylinder. If we take the cross sectional area of a rectangular prism, it is nothing but a rectangle, whereas coming to the cylinder, it is a circle. So while you are calculating the stress when a rectangular prism is subject to tensile force, whereas sigma is equal to load, tensile load, by the cross sectional area for a rectangle you are going to take, that is length into breadth. Whereas in case of a cylinder which is subject to tensile or compressive, the stress can be calculated as sigma is equal to the load, what type of load, tensile or compressive, you are going to substitute, and the area you are going to consider as area is equal to pi by 4 d square. So, and here the stress which is acting in tension, due to tension, is considered to be as positive, whereas due to compression it is considered to be as negative, and the units are Pascal, or some cases we can consider it as Newton per meter square. The same way, the axial strain is or tensile strain or compressive strain is also explained. An axial bar of length L is when it is subjected to a load of P. Okay, there will be an expansion, and that expansion is calculated in terms of delta. So the ratio of this change in dimension, that is the delta to the original dimension, that is given as L, is nothing but strain, where strain is being denoted by means of a symbol epsilon, or in some cases it considered to be as E, where the strain is positive for tensile loading and it is negative in compressive loading. In engineering calculations, generally we often use the strain will be represented in terms of percentage. Since the value is very small, we are going to multiply the strain value in terms of with 100, and we are going to consider it with respect to percentage. So, and it is been termed as elongation, percentage elongation. So in terms of tensile loading, it is considered to be as a percentage elongation. In terms of compressive loading, it is percentage contraction. As we know that shear stress or tangential stress is being induced on a body when a force is being applied and along the surface, like as shown. So due to this, the material will be deformation will takes place along the tangential direction. So here this can be calculated by using this formula, that is force by area, where this is tangential load by the area of the cross section. Due to the tangential load which is acting on a body, the material will deform angularly. So here the strain which was calculated in terms of angular displacements, that is the change in the distortion will be in terms of angle, that is theta. And see here we are going to discuss in the elastic constants like the Young's modulus, shear modulus, bulk modulus, Poisson's ratio and volumetric strain. So Young's modulus is also called as modulus of elasticity or elastic modulus and represented by capital E. Whereas shear modulus or rigidity modulus or modulus of rigidity will be represented as G or C, and bulk modulus is been represented as K, whereas the Poisson's ratio is represented by means of symbol called mu, where volumetric strain will be represented by means of small v. Here we will discuss about the Young's modulus or elastic modulus or modulus of elasticity. As we know that from stress strain curve up to the elastic limit based upon the Hooke's law, within the elastic limit the stress is directly proportional to strain, whereas the relationship between stress and strain are linear. So from that relationship we understood that the stress and strain at any point, the slope, if you consider, the slope will be same. So due to that, the ratio is considered to between the stress and strain. By removing that proportionality, we are introducing a constant called E, and whereas E is equal to sigma by E. So Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity will be considered in tension or compression as a mechanical property, and also it measures the tensile stiffness of a solid material. So it is been I mean denoted by capital E, and the units for this Young's modulus are Newton per mm square. And shear modulus is also known as modulus of rigidity or rigidity modulus. It is one of the important mechanical properties of solids, and it is given the ratio of shearing stress to the shearing strain of the body. It is denoted by G, C or R, and their units are Newton per mm square. And here mainly these property is been considered when it is being loaded with torsion loads or shear loads or twisting loads, we can say. The bulk modulus is one of the elastic constant where it has been considered particularly for fluids instead of solids. So it is described the resistance of a substance when it is been compressed. So it is defined as a ratio between increase in pressure, that is delta P, by change in volume by original volume, that is volumetric strain. So here the units for this are Newton per mm square. That means it is been mainly considered particularly for compressive fluids and mainly in fluid mechanics. So another elastic property is nothing but Poisson's ratio. As we studied that we have different types of strains like tensile that, or we can say or tangential strain likewise. But when the material is being exposed to some loading, the material will deform in another direction rather than in longitudinal direction. So that ratio of this lateral direction strain to the longitudinal direction strain is considered to be as Poisson's ratio, where this Poisson's ratio does not have any units, whereas the larger the Poisson's ratio, the softer is the material. So the largest value of the Poisson's ratio is 0.5. We cannot able to consider the Poisson's ratio beyond 0.5, and also the material and it is very much needed. This property is very much needed when you are doing in linear analysis. The last elastic constant which we are going to discuss is volumetric strain. So volumetric strain is been defined as the ratio of change in volume of the body to the deformation to its original volume. So when you are considering or when you are applying loads in all the three directions on a body, the volumetric strain is being considered. That means the analysis when you are carrying out on a body or on a component in three-dimensional, then this volumetric strain is being considered for calculations. So these can be represented by means of EV or epsilon V. For listening my lecture. Thank you. We will meet in another beautiful concepts in the next lecture. Thank you.